Hello, welcome back. Slightly different video this week. We're not at the barn, as you can tell. We have a special guest as well who's currently walking all over my laptop. This is Flo. I'm wearing my really cool t-shirt. Goosebumps, they're fist bumping, the geese. I think that's pretty cool. Different video this week because it's been a weird week at the barn. I've not really wanted to film too much. Obviously, I've had encounters with people which I didn't like. I'm starting to not want to share too much in real time because it's getting to that kind of time of year where it's better just to wait and hold on things. And I figured, why not film in the comfort of my own home with the cat and get some engagement through her? She can actually start paying for herself, so that's what we're doing. And I reached out to you guys on Instagram this week, and I asked for a few questions that I could potentially answer in the YouTube video, and that's what we're doing. I'm excited. It's also slightly cooler today, so it's okay to be inside. And yeah, so stick with us. I'm going to include, oh my god, look at all this hair. I'm going to include some footage from previous years and stuff like that, some stuff I haven't shared much of, and we'll answer a few questions that you have. Now, if we are going to sit and we're going to talk and we're going to have a discussion, I think the first thing that we should talk about, especially after the week I've just had, is ethical wildlife photography and what that really means. Now, I'm going to move the flow slightly out of the way because it's an important discussion and I don't want any distractions, so pay attention. Ethical wildlife photography means different things to different people depending on your own sort of understanding. There is no hard and fast line. For me, I think it's important that we strive to adhere to our own morals, our own ethical compass, because at the end of the day, we're going to be on our own when we're out in the field most of the time. And that means that any sort of rules, any sort of discipline is going to be internally motivated. If anything crazy happens when we're out in the field, it's going to be on our own back to determine how ethical we are in terms of photographing it. For me, the hard and fast line is this: no click is worth the disturbance of an animal. What does disturbance mean? Disturbance is almost a scale. It's not just a defined word. Disturbance of an animal could be flushing it from the grass, it could be interfering with its food, it could be baiting an animal for a photograph, it could be playing callback, it could be entering an area that you shouldn't, getting too close. Those are sort of the big groups. None of them are necessary for good photographs, and all of them come ultimately to the detriment of the species. You could argue feeding is supporting an animal, but realistically it's artificial propping up of a couple, of a pair, that if you were to disappear, if you were to die, those animals would suffer as a result of you feeding them, and you've done that ultimately to get photos. Now in the UK, there is a lot of photography hides that bait, and each to their own. For me, you'll never catch me at one. I don't have any interest in getting a picture of an animal on a post with a dead rabbit underneath it. There's no need. Flash photography as well at night, those sort of sustained light photographs of tawnies, of badgers, I just don't like the look of them. I don't really think it's good photography. Now, it's obviously a weird, controversial topic. People make money in these hides, people enjoy them. There's a lot of people in the community that use them and run them, and fair enough. If you want to see them, obviously you're going to be pretty much guaranteed to see specific animals at that site. I just think for me, there's nothing more rewarding than putting in a lot of graft, a lot of hard work to eventually, potentially, maybe get a cool image. And I think at hides that just doesn't come across. So, okay, so I'm going to cherry pick maybe 5 questions. We'll try and answer them pretty well. This is the first one. What has been your favourite wildlife moment? The kind that makes you want to tear up a little bit. Oof. Man, I mean, obviously I'm going to lean towards the barn owls here, just because that has been the last 3-4 years just so special. Every year I could pick a moment. The first year where I had 5 barn owls outside the barn at the same time, and I was watching them for the first time I ever went up to the barn and saw those 5 owls, I mean, that was special. I can still remember how giddy I felt leaving the barn. More recently, I mean, when I was watching last year 4 little barn owl fledgling heads sticking out the top of the barn, that was magic. And then obviously my closest encounter with barn owls was when I had one of the fledglings fly out in really high wind and land 2 meters away from me. It trusted me enough to just sit there. Obviously I'm not ignorant enough to pretend like it didn't know I was there. It knew I was there. But I was incredibly proud in how I responded to that, and how I was incredibly still, patient, and just sort of respected that moment. I did get a photograph, but while I was taking the photos, it was just so still and so calm, yeah, it flew off on its own terms. I took a couple, left it be, and it sat there for a good 30, 40 seconds after the photos had been taken, and stopped looking at me and started scanning the grass next to me. And it was just humbling to be so in the presence, so close to one of these animals that I've been spending so long watching and photographing, and having it feel comfortable enough to start looking at the grass around me. Yeah, that was special. That was a cool moment for sure. So I go with that one. Next question. How do you find new locations? Top tip for finding new locations. I'm probably not the best person to ask this because I don't do new locations. I love finding my one spot and sticking to it, and that's what I've done. I had a guy come up to me the other day and say, "Oh, people are talking. When's Jake going to start uploading new photos, or when's he going to start going to new locations?" And I said to the guy, "I'm so content where I am." So I guess if we look at how can you find a spot like that, it's all about getting out. For me, the best thing you could possibly do is explore within 30 minutes of where you live, because then on any day, on any given evening, you can head up there and be up there ASAP. If the weather changes, if all of a sudden the clouds part and you're going to get a really beautiful sunset, you can go up and go. If you've had a bad day, if traffic's been bad from work, you can get up and get out. I would say the best thing you can possibly do to find a new location is to give any location enough time. Because when we first visit a site, we don't really know what's going on. We haven't got a clue. You might get lucky and see tree creepers or woodpeckers, or even owls if you're incredibly lucky. But you don't know the story. You don't know the sort of animals that utilize that space well, because you don't know where to stand to see them best. You don't know how to behave not to disturb the animals. It could be that on your first visit, you're actually disturbing a little bit by standing in a fox path or a badger set or anything like that. So ignorance can really affect what we see, and it's only once we start to sort of really become a part of a spot that we can understand it and know where to be and actually realize just how special it is. I mean, I've got my aunt and uncle living in Colchester, and they have this incredibly sort of just normal looking patch of woodland, but every sort of March and April it becomes alive with nightingale song. So if you visit at the wrong time of the year, you'd think, this isn't that special, and then you go through and there and you're like, oh my god, this is magic. And you can see nightingales, you can hear them from the bedroom, and it's unsuspecting, you wouldn't expect it. So the best thing you could possibly do is just pick somewhere, spend a week exploring it. If after that week you haven't seen anything that makes you just obsessed and making you want to explore it forever, then find somewhere else. Obviously, farmland is a very good spot to find wildlife. Driving around at evening, if you're looking for barn owls, go into your country lanes and just sort of scan walls, scan fields. This time of year, everything is incredibly busy and you're going to find a lot of good stuff. If you catch it late this year, then get to that site early next year and sort of really just become obsessed and addicted to going there. The other thing you can do is just visit your ISPB sites, visit your National Trust sites, those sites that are known and documented and have incredible nature. And if you're lucky enough to have one of them close, ISPB Arn, ISPB Hamwall, incredible spots and places that people can spend a lot of time in. Your spot doesn't have to be off a nature reserve. Finding one on there is obviously even better, because you know that no one's going to disturb it. There's hard and fast rules in place. There's boardwalks, designated walking spots. They can close areas off as and when needed. Those are really good spots to explore as well. So yeah, I hope that helps. Next question. Other than the barn, obviously, where's your favourite birding location in the UK? Now, this one I have a lot of incredibly good childhood memories at Norfolk at Clyde Marshes. Now, when I was growing up, I was a begrudging birder. My parents would drag me out on walks. They'd drag me down to go see my grandparents in Norfolk, and part of that trip would be mornings on Clyde Marshes. And realistically, at the time when I was younger, it's not where I wanted to be. I don't want to be sitting in bird hides watching merganser and ruffs and trying to work out what that duck was. I wanted to be doing nothing inside. Obviously now I'm incredibly grateful for those opportunities that I was offered through my parents and through my grandparents where they used to live. So I don't think anywhere else in the UK is going to come close to that. Obviously recently I was down south and I visited RSPB Hamwall, RSPB Arn. Those two places were also beautiful places, somewhere I'd love to explore more of. Arn was just stunning. Lots of variety in habitat, beech, birch trees, just everything. And then Hamwall obviously had the booming bitterns all the time. So yeah, personally, Clyde Marshes is always going to be number one for me besides the barn. But besides that, for opportunities and birding, from where I've been, what I've seen, Arn is incredible. Hamwall is incredible, but I haven't been to Mull, and I know Mull is meant to be incredibly special. Isle of May I've been to, that was beautiful, lots of puffins, seabird colonies. And then Bempton Cliffs. What a place that is, how can I forget Bempton? I've had some magical moments at Bempton Cliffs. Just incredible for photography, but also just to experience the noise and the smell and just the grind of being there all day and not getting bored. So those are the top ones. I think probably we'll call it there, to be honest. I don't want to waffle too much. I don't want to make it into too long a video. We will do more of these sit downs. I'll give you longer to ask me questions, and maybe we can do some edits. We can do some sort of live photo editing together and critiquing people's photos and that sort of thing. But I've got so much more that I have to do, and I think it's probably a good length for a video. Obviously, we're still getting better at these YouTubes. We're still learning. We're still trying to sort of find our niche on here, the longer format and that sort of thing. So thank you for watching. I'll leave you with a few photos that I've taken recently. I'll leave you with a little bit of footage. And yeah, thank you for your questions. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for just being beautiful people that are as obsessed with wildlife as I am. It's crazy the community we have here, and I'm incredibly grateful for you. So with that, goodbye. I'll see you next week, and stay hydrated in this crazy heat.